Hello, hello. Good morning and welcome back to Brunch and Build, the show where I eat Gundam and review them based on how good they taste. I'm still Salem and we are continuing building the perfect grade unicorn, which has been a little bit of a challenge because it's probably the biggest Gundam I've ever built because it's 1/60th scale, but we're getting through it. We're getting through it. Yeah, this one has been quite a treat, I will say. I've been quite enjoying it. What we're going to do today is I've got this whole bunch of various arm bits that we've been putting together for like the past week, I think, past week or two. I think what I have left is I still have to make the left hand. But after the left hand, it's just basically just assembling the arm and putting in the LEDs. So that is our course of action for today, is to finish putting together the arms, is to finish building the hand, and then putting together the arms. So our man has arms. He's even got these little opposable thumbs. The little hand joints are kind of, I'm not gonna lie, the hand joints on this thing are kind of insane. He's got so many little joints. Very movable, like kind of insanely movable. But yes, we continue on our journey. Yes, we will continue on our journey. He's got his little thumbs. But yes. Yeah, we just have to build the other arm, like the other hand part now. I think I built... Yes, I built 2 of this thing. Yeah, I feel like thumbs kind of important. I'm not gonna lie. Humans evolution, we really popped off when we, evolved to have opposable thumbs. It just made things so much easier. It's pretty crazy that just this little joint makes us superior to most other creatures for whatever reason. Even though a lot of them could most definitely, like, just eat humans. Somehow we got thumbs, which means we won evolutionarily for some reason. But I'm not mad about it. I in fact enjoy having thumbs and not being eaten by lions. It is in fact ideal. But yes, I hope you've all been having a good morning. It's brunch time, so I hope you guys get to have something have something nice for a beautiful Friday morning like today. Okay, I don't think I made 2 of these. I don't think I made 2 of these ones. Yes, the power of grabby hands, putting us at the top of the food chain. You know what? I'll take it. Okay, I need... Hello! Oh, those emotes are so cute. Now, this is the S runner that I've been using. This is not the one that I want right now. Yeah, this is actually... No, it's not the one I want right now. It's the other S runner that I want right now. See, I said... Yeah, I didn't. If you've been tuning in, I am in fact still working on the unicorn. That is not done yet. Today we are finishing up the arms. We're actually almost done with the unicorn. Once I finish the arms, all that's left is the head and putting them all together and putting them all together and connecting the LEDs. Then it'll be done. And then I still have to what I want to do is do some what's it? What's the word? I still have to do some lining work on it. And I'm debating whether or not I want to do that on stream because lining work is pretty boring. Oh, you mean nippers? Yeah. And I'll be the Yeah, then we just have to assemble Voltron. I know the store carries a lot of basic tools. I'm not sure if if you're looking for a very specific type of nippers or tools. I'm not sure if that'll be there, but I know the store does carry like any basic tools. Yeah, we're gonna form Voltron. Fun fact about me. I have a framed photo of Shiro from Voltron. Specifically, I think like the 2016 Voltron. It's kind of a fun story as to why I have that. I'm actually not much of a Voltron fan these days. I've definitely moved on more to Gundam, but back in the day, I was a pretty big Voltron fan, and as were a bunch of my friends. And so, what what one of my friends did for Valentine's Day, because she thought it would be hilarious, right? Because we were all single and lonely, and loving two-dimensional characters. She just decided for Valentine's Day she gave us each a framed photo of our favorite Voltron characters. And for me, she gave me a Shiro because he was my favorite. And I still have him to this day. I feel like even though I've kind of moved on from Voltron, it's more of like a nostalgia thing. And also, like, it's a nice little keepsake. It's a nice little keepsake of my friends and just like... yeah. He still lives he still lives on my bookshelf. It's really funny whenever people visit my apartment and they just see this like framed photo of this random anime looking guy. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's Shiro. He lives on my shelf. Don't worry about him." He is the best space dad. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I still think he was a good character, even though, man, am I gonna get into complaining about Voltron? Because the writing in that show did not do him any favors. We'll keep it at that. But he was a really good space dad. I still really liked him as a character. Even no matter how much the studio kind of bungled his writing in the end. Yeah, the D&D episode was so cute. Yeah, honestly, I could talk about Voltron. I still, to this day, I'm not. I feel like I like to think I've moved past it. I like to think I've moved beyond, the 2016 Netflix Voltron. But whenever I get reminded of it, I'm like, man, they really did fumble the end of that show. They deserved so much better. They deserved so much better. Like, I feel like my hottest take for those of you that know anything about Voltron is that Lotor deserved better. Okay, I'm not gonna like veer too far into spoiler territory in case anyone's particularly interested in watching the not very well ended, the not very the poorly ended show that was 2016 Voltron. I won't do any major spoilers, but I will just say Lotor deserved so much better. I feel like they were setting up something so good. They're setting up something so good for him. Right? Like, he was a villain, and like, I know it's been done. It's been everyone loves a good villain redemption arc. We all watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. We all love Zuko. I know. I was there. I had a crush on Zuko back in the day. I know. We all love Zuko. And like, yeah, they were really setting up something good for Lotor, right? Because even when he was like a major antagonist, he wasn't like the worst as an antagonist. Like, there were definitely worse people that were antagonists, right? Yeah. So like, even when he was an antagonist, right? Like, he had potential. Like, he wasn't 100% bad. And then, when they defeated him and all that, because it's a mecha show. The good guys defeat the bad guy in the season finale. But then when they brought him back, and it's like, oh, it's like, he's getting better now. He's on the path to being a reformed villain. He was setting up some really good like relationships with the main characters. It was like, oh, it's actually pretty nice. I enjoy this. And then they took all of that beautiful setup, tossed it directly in the garbage can. Just threw it all away. For what? They just all of that character. Okay, I'm a little bit biased. Lotor is one of my favorite characters when I watched it, but besides Shiro, obviously Shiro was still my favorite. But I still think he deserved so much better than what they did to him. Yeah, honestly, if you ever want to look at a good antagonist redemption arc, Zuko is still the gold standard. I know, it's so overdone. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I love Zuko. But it's for a reason. It's because he was such a good, interesting, like, yes, okay, you know what, you're right. Lotor did nothing wrong. Okay, he did a few things wrong, but they were redeemable. Okay? They were redeemable. He did nothing wrong. He did not deserve what happened to him. And I will die mad about it. Okay? I will die mad about what they did to a character on like a show, on like some random, like an animated remake of Voltron from like 6 years ago. Okay, I will die mad about it. But yeah, and that's just like one of the antagonists. That doesn't even touch on how badly they messed up the writing for like the actual characters in the like the main characters in the show. But it still holds a lot of nostalgia for me, which is why to this day I still have my little framed Shiro sitting on my shelf to this day. He still lives there, and I love him for that. That he just, He's just chilling on my shelf. Oh, I was supposed to attach something else. I was supposed to attach this too. And I already attached the other thing. I wasn't supposed to do that. Gotta take this off. And also this. I am most definitely a professional, guys. I've been, you know, oh man. Do I have hot anime takes? Okay, my takes are not that hot, but I do have some hot anime takes. Some of them, yeah, instructions are hard. I can't always read. You know, it's the classic. I've never read a book in my life. Actually, that's a lie. I do like reading books. But man, one of the like things that like one of the hills I will absolutely die on is not to watch the Netflix version of Evangelion. Especially if you've never seen Eva before. Like, oh my god. Okay. Which I know sounds weird, right? Evangelion, one of my all-time favorite anime. One of my all-time favorite shows. And it's a lot of people's favorite shows for a reason, because it's, you know, really iconic. It's Evangelion. But and you know, I always thought, you know, everyone always thinks like, oh yeah, you know, it should be a good thing, right? I should be happy that finally after like what, decades, Evangelion is finally able to be legally streamed in the States. Like, if you wanted to watch Evangelion legally for a long time, if you wanted to watch it legally, your only option was to buy the DVDs. Like, literally, you just had to buy the DVDs. That was all you had. And the fact that it got an official streaming license was amazing, right? Because now it's like it's way more accessible to who knows how many people. Like, everyone knows what Netflix is. Anyone can have access to Netflix, but not everyone wants to go out of their way to buy DVDs from this anime that came out in like 1997. But my hot take is that the Netflix version of Evangelion sucked. It was terrible. And I consider myself somewhat of an Evangelion scholar. I've spent more time than I would care to admit researching like the various translation histories of Evangelion, and like every single release and re-release that it's gotten. I've tracked it and I've seen it. Like the early releases, not great. I'm not gonna lie. It was the 90s. Technology was not at the heights that they're at today. But the translation, yeah, this definitely does. I've always had beef with Netflix when it comes to what they do for anime, but like what they did to Evangelion was just the final nail in the coffin for me, right? So to give you a little bit of backstory, you know, Evangelion was initially, I believe, it had like an original DVD release in like 1998. That DVD release, pretty garbage. I'm not gonna lie. The quality, like video quality, audio quality of the time was just not what it is today. Plain and simple. But, and then I believe the Blu-ray, there's another DVD release in like 2002 where they fixed some of the problems from the original 1998 release. Like, the video wasn't as jittery, the audio quality was better, the translation was a little bit better. They fixed, because like in the original translation of Eva, like it was full of grammatical errors and a lot of, it was rough. It was rough back then. But In the 2002 release, they fixed some of those problems. And then in, I believe, 2006 or 2007 is when Ava had a Blu-ray release. Like, Blu-ray has actually been around for a long time. But basically, Ava got a re-release in like 2006 or 2007. It got basically a fresh coat of paint, fully retranslated. And to this day, that is my favorite translation of Evangelion, is like the translation from that original like 2006, 2007 release. And like the Blu-rays that came out, I think they also released a Blu-ray in like 2008. That's up until before Netflix, that was the most recent edition. Like that was the most recent version of Evangelion that was available, or like the Blu-rays from 2008. But yeah. So basically, that's all the exposition that leads up to Netflix acquiring the official streaming license, the worldwide streaming license for Evangelion in like 2018 or 2019, I believe. And, you know, Netflix being Netflix, they're like, we're going to completely retranslate. We're going to make a dub for Evangelion. We're going to retranslate. We're going to do all this stuff. And that's where they went wrong. Because the Netflix translation of Evangelion was so bad. Like, even outside of the whole, like, censorship debacle, because that was, in fact, a thing. Like, Netflix deliberately chose to, like, one of the most poignant scenes in Evangelion is Kawaru's love confession to Shinji. That's one of the most iconic scenes from Evangelion. Is like Kawaru and Shinji's relationship. And Netflix went out of their way to specifically like remove that as being an overt declaration of love, which is pretty messed up. And like because of that, it really did detract. It detracted not just from, you know, the whole thing of like, you know, censoring LGBT representation is pretty rough in the first place. That's already really bad. But it also just detracted from the original message of the show so much. Because, like, for some context, I won't, like, spoil anything major about Evangelion, but, like, for some context, like, Shinji's whole thing is that, like, he feels like no one truly loves him. And that's kind of true because his mom died when he was a baby and his dad doesn't love him. It's kind of rough, but that's just what it is. And like the reason why Kawaru had such an impact on Shinji is because that is the first time someone has he felt like someone has gone out of their way to say that they loved him, and that like explicitly telling him that they love him and that he's worth being loved, that he's like, that was one of his main conflicts, is that because he's so young and he's never really felt like that feeling of like being loved and like that he matters. That's why Kawaru, you know, that's why, like, that whole scene with Kawaru and then what happened to Kawaru later is so significant to him. At least part of it is that, like, yeah, someone is explicitly saying that they loved him and that he is worthy of being loved. But then in the Netflix translation of it, hear this. You want to know what they changed I love you to? They changed it to you are worthy of my grace. What does that even mean? Truly, what does that even mean? And it's like, oh man, he said I'm worthy of his grace. Which doesn't even make sense. It censors like a canon like LGBT relationship. and it just basically dampens the emotional impact of that entire scene and what subsequently happens to Kaworu. And that's just like the most like one of the most overt examples, right? Like there's a lot of like moments where, oh my god, yes. Cruel Angel's thesis was so good. I genuinely like watch the intro for every episode. I still do. Cuz most anime when you're binging it, we skip the intro, But Ava, I can't. Cruel Angel's thesis is too iconic. I can't do it. But yeah, like a huge thing with translation, right? Like translating something is very difficult because there's a lot of nuances that's difficult to convey from one language to another. And being a translator is equal parts of knowing the language, it's equal important to know the language, but also just be a good writer. You can't, to translate something well, not only do you have to just have a very good grasp of both the languages you are translating, it's also very important to you have to be a good writer. You have to be able to interpret the original tone of the script, the original tone of the dialogue, and also can try your best to convey that tone in another language, which is very difficult, obviously, but it is what it is. And I feel like the Netflix translation of Evangelion just lacked that so much, because there's so many scenes that I feel like the new translators translated just extremely literally, or they changed little things that didn't make sense. Like even in the original dialogue for Shinji and Kawaru's confession scene, Kawaru says "aishiteru," which is a very explicit romantic "I love you." And for whatever reason, they just, chose to change it. I mean, we know why they changed it, but it's just really messed up that they did that. And there's a bunch of other scenes. And on top of that, there's the other thing of that they didn't get while they got the license for Evangelion, they didn't get the license for the song "Fly Me to the Moon." Oh yeah, I really like Amelie's covers too. Man, don't even get me started. Because they also didn't get the licensing rights for "Fly Me to the Moon," which is along with Cruel Angel's thesis, one of Ava's most iconic songs, because that's the ending theme of Evangelion. But not only is it the end, I love Fly Me, Evangelion's version of "Fly Me to the Moon." Yeah. Not being able to translate properly is just such a struggle. But yeah, I love Evangelion's version. As iconic as the bayonet of "Fly Me to the Moon" is, I really love that version of "Fly Me to the Moon" too. As iconic as Bayonetta's is, Evangelion's I really love because they didn't just record it once, right? It's not just the ending theme of Evangelion. They recorded eight or 10 different versions of "Fly Me to the Moon" that they play in different episodes, so that it's it does not necessarily matches, but it works thematically with the content of the episode. There's the classic jazz version, there's a bossa nova version, there's an acid jazz version, and all of that was they played different versions in different endings to kind of continue the tonal the tone of that episode, or how that episode ended, which is a really cool experience. I loved having that in the show. And because Netflix didn't get the license to "Fly Me to the Moon," they didn't get to have that. And then on top of that, not only is it the ending theme, it's also just used as there's an instrumental version of "Fly Me to the Moon" that's used as an instrumental, that's used as background in some of very emotionally significant scenes, where they will play that, like, as a scene is hit, some scenes are hitting an emotional climax, they'll play that instrumental version of Fly Me to the Moon, and it just tied things together really well. I've always really loved that. And again, because Netflix didn't get the rights to it, they didn't get to put that in the show. They had to edit it out. One of my favorite scenes in the show between Misato and Kaji, when, like, it's like the scene when Misato is like, she's drunk and she's like spilling her guts finally, like in an emotional sense, because she's always kind of been very emotionally, like, closed off. She's always been the type of character that's like, I have a job to fulfill, and I'm going to fulfill it. And, you know, that's one of the things I love about her. But finally, there's this one scene where she's intoxicated, and finally she, like, confesses what she actually feels to Kaji, her insecurities, her, like, why she did certain things that she did, some of her regrets, and, like, her being a lot more self-aware than she previously, like, has admitted to. And in the absolute, like, in the peak of this scene, like, that instrumental version of Fly Me to the Moon plays, and it just really elevates that scene so much. It's one of my favorite scenes in the show, but in the Netflix version, they didn't have Fly Me to the Moon. So instead of having that, like, beautiful music, like this really touching piano version of Fly Me to the Moon playing in the background, like a very, you know, thematically significant song in the show, playing in the background in this, you know, in this scene, like such an important scene for Misato's development. Instead, they just have, like, generic outside noises, because the scene takes place outside. You just get, like, generic, you know, wind and crickets chirping, and I think they put in some other, like, maybe they put in some other, like, generic track, background music track, but it doesn't have the same hit as Fly Me to the Moon does. And, like, I mean, Evangelion is a good show regardless. Like, I'm gonna love Evangelion regardless. And I feel like even if you do watch the Netflix version, you know, it's Eva. It's still going to be good. But it's not going to be, like, there's just so much, and those are just, like, two examples. Those are just two of, like, my biggest examples. But it's apparent throughout the entire show. Like, for context, I watched both versions side by, like, back to backs, like, two to four times within the span of a few weeks, because I had nothing better to do one summer. And I really did pick apart a lot of those little nuances as to, like, how Netflix messed up. But yeah, I honestly, if you've never watched Evangelion, I know it's always good to watch things legally, support the creator, but I'll be real with you, Hideaki Anno is rich enough. The amount, if you've ever seen the prevalence of, literally, you take any item, it's guaranteed at one point or another they've slapped Eva on there. So, you know, it's a show that came out in 1997. You can definitely find it in means that aren't Netflix, and I would far recommend those better than the Netflix version. It's a big blue ball. Unfortunately, I haven't. I have no idea what that is, but I would love to find out. Yeah. You know, we just spent last week talking about crimes and how technically we don't endorse crimes, but there are some crimes I will endorse. Though for legal reasons, I don't endorse. I endorse zero crimes. But if you find Evangelion just somewhere on the internet, I don't have to know about it. It's okay. Yeah, it was an outtake. Don't worry. Don't worry. I would never. But yeah, that's me ranting about Evangelion for 30 minutes, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, man. Like, fun fact, a hobby of mine is I write essays about things, usually anime, for fun. Look up Ava outtakes. It's a big oh. Oh my god. I think I've never seen the clip you're talking about, but I feel like I can imagine the context because there sure is an angel that's a big blue ball. Man, I love some of the angels in Ava were really goofy, and I love them for that. I really do. One of my favorite things, I wouldn't recommend this if you haven't seen Ava, but I think it's Mega 64 did like X in 5 minutes for Ava, which is one kind of a lie because the video was like 8 minutes, but it was actually like the most high effort, low budget thing I've ever seen. Cause like clearly they put the amount of effort they put in, it was kind of insane. Like they nailed Evangelion. It was it was so funny. But again, if you've never seen the show, it's not gonna make that much sense. But yes, I will look up It's a Big Blue Ball Evangelion outtakes. I love one of my I'm not a huge fan of anime dubs in general. That's just a personal thing. I have nothing against people that do watch dubs. I understand why they exist and why people would like them, but it's just not for me. But even though I'm not a huge fan of dubs, I love I love watching like the dub outtake clips. Those are actually really funny, especially from like some of the anime back in like the 2000s. One of my all-time favorites is the Oron High School Host Club outtakes clip. Like the outtakes compilation for the Oron English dub is so funny. It's so good. Like even if you don't like Oron, it's genuinely just really funny. Yeah, that's fair, honestly. I feel like the only dubs that I do watch are that when I first got into anime, I didn't really know, like, oh my god, you're right. Okay, Ghost Stories. Ghost Stories is allowed. Yeah, genuinely, I will say I do actually like the Oran dub because back when I first got into anime, I didn't really know the difference between dubs and subs. I had no idea what any of those things were. And so most of the first anime I watched were dubbed, one of which was Oran. And to this day, if I ever want to rewatch any of those original anime that I watched like back when I first got into anime, I can only watch the dub because that's just what I got used to. And Oran is one of them. Tamaki, oh my god. Tamaki is such a problematic fave. I will say though, I not to expose myself, my favorite was Kyoya. To this day, Kyoya was my top tier boy in Oran, and he still is. I saw this thing once that's like this post that was like your Oran like I will bet real dollars that your Oran fave still says a lot about your current taste. And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I understand that. at least for my taste in two-dimensional men. Yeah. All of them are problematic. That is true. But it's just a fun time. I genuinely do love Oran. It's still a show that I rewatch, not often, but from time to time. Like, it's a nice comfort show to this day. It's one of the first anime I watched. It's just a show, man. And like, I'm still mad that they never got a season 2. Because I read the Oran manga, and the Oran manga is one pretty good actually. I really enjoyed the Oran manga, and like there's a lot of character like character development and a lot of like fun things that happen in the manga. Like, some of my favorite characters in Oran are like manga exclusive because they get introduced after where the show leaves off. And like, I still think it's quite a shame that like they never adapted the later season. Like, fun fact, one of my favorite things is, so Kasanoda, the gangster, gets a love interest in the manga. And she's so good. She's one of my favorite characters. I think she's supposed to be one of Haruhi's like she's like one of Haruhi's childhood friends or something. Or like friends from middle school. And she's just so much fun. She's such a fun character. And she's like such a perfect foil to Kasanoda. Because while Kasanoda is like this gangster that's actually like, you know, just a really nice guy. He's like this big tough gangster looking dude that's like actually just a really nice guy. She's the opposite. She's like, you know, a quiet she's like an unassuming girl. She goes on to like open a flower shop, but she's also one of the like most loud, brash characters in like the whole series. It's so good. They work together so well, and she ends up opening a flower shop, and Kasanoda obviously works for her flower shop because they get together. It's just really good, man. And it's honestly, yeah, it's such a shame that like Oran deserves the Fruits Basket treatment. Like, the Fruits Basket remake was really good. As like an original Fruits Basket fan. Fruits Basket was my first manga. The first manga I ever read was Fruits Basket. I have a full set of the entire Fruits Basket manga. I love Fruits Basket, and I'm so happy that it like got the true remake that it deserved. Like, it was really good. It adapted the manga so well, and like a really wild thing. Like, again, I watched the original dub of Fruits Basket because that was one of those anime that I originally watched dubbed, and so to this day I still like the dub, even though like it's not that good of a dub, but because I got used to it, that's really the only thing I could watch. The remake I did watch subbed, but a fun fact about the Fruits Basket remake, at least for the English dub, is they brought back the same voice actors. The original dub voice actors from like 2002, when they did the original dub of Fruits Basket, they brought them back for the remake, and I just thought that was like insane, because it's been literally 20 years, and they brought like, back then I think most of them were like pretty fledgling voice actors, and now they've all become major voice actors, and like, but they all of the main cast like came back for the Fruits Basket remake to voice the same characters, and I just thought that was really fun. Yeah, honestly, when I was younger, I was not a Kyo fan. I was hardcore Yuki. I was a hardcore Yuki fan. And I'm not gonna lie, I still like Yuki a lot. But as I've gotten older, Kyo has really grown on me. And I do think that he was really good. I do think he was really good with Toru. Yeah, I know there are reasons why we can't have an Oran remake, why there are problems with Oran. Despite all of my nostalgia goggles, there are in fact some problems with Oran that can't really be fixed. Yeah. Oh, definitely. I have We do have different tastes in anime, guys. My like formative crushes. Yuki was one of my formative anime crushes, okay? Yuki and Kyoya. I feel like that itself, just not to expose myself like that, but yeah. I do indeed. I always have. I still do. But as I've gotten older, though, Kyo has really grown on me, though. I think he's a really cute. I really think like I liked his relationship with Toru, and he's a good character. He's also just a really good character. Ooh. Honestly, that's entirely valid, and I don't blame you. I can't appreciate a good emotionally driven airhead. Like Kyo is great. Tamaki is great. Even though their Oran characters have their problems though. Man, I like shoujo, like classic shoujo just holds a very dear place in my heart because that's what originally got me into anime. And I still look back on a lot of them very fondly. Even though, like, they probably weren't actually that good. But yeah, whether you're an Oran fan or not, oh my god, Full Metal Alchemist. I will say, my taste in my favorite in Full Metal Alchemist was Winry. Winry was one of those like formative characters that made me realize that I do like girls. I loved Winry. Not only because she's relatable, but also because I loved her. Besides Winry, Show Tucker? Honestly, yeah. Besides Winry, though, Winry I feel like was more relatable to me. But Mustang, I feel like that's the one overlap that we have. I would die for Roy Mustang. Okay, I was a little concerned there with the Show Tucker. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure, Show Tucker? I listen. I'm not for shaming people for their taste. You can like who you like, but Show Tucker, I would have some concerns. But yeah, honestly, I really did like Roy Mustang though. There's this one Mustang figure. There's this one Roy Mustang figure that I want so bad. That came out like I think in the past year. It's not a scale figure. At least I don't think so. No, I don't think it's a scale figure. But it's this one Roy Mustang figure, and I've been eyeing it for so long. Yeah, me too. Honestly, I was thinking I don't know. There's not really any like. There's not a lot. I mean, Ed also kind of does fulfill the nerd, the nerdy guy type well too. Because while he is an emotionally driven airhead, he also is just smart and good at what he does. Even though he's also really stupid sometimes. Ed is just such a good character. Ed's just a really good character in general. But Roy Mustang though, sometimes he's just hot. I can't really say much. He actually is just a really good character. Yeah, he's a very good character. Like all the characters. Yeah, he's literally the Flame Alchemist. His whole thing is that he's the Flame Alchemist. You know, I feel like it's kind of universal. You have to like Roy Mustang. But yeah, there's this one Roy Mustang figure that I want so bad. But because of how figures are, I can only buy it on the resale market. So it's gonna be crazy expensive, but every day I think about him. If you're a fellow Roy Mustang fan, I would implore you to look up it's like Roy Mustang, he's like in an armchair. If you haven't seen it before, I would highly recommend you look up the Roy Mustang like armchair figure. Cause it's literally just like him lounging on an armchair with like holding a chess piece or something, but it's just such a beautifully done figure. And it's like one of the few figures that I really want that's not like a Hatsune Miku figure. Because like really all the figures I have now are Miku figures. I love my Miku figures, but that Roy Mustang figure is just so good. It's such a good figure. I would sell my kidney to own that figure. Okay, that's a little bit too literal. I don't think I would literally sell my kidney, but in a figurative sense, I would really. That's such a good figure. Yeah, have I ruined your life now? With showing you this figure? You can join me in my pain of having to know that it's out there and not currently in our possession, either of our possession. It's rough. Yeah, we have to suffer knowing that if we want, yeah, we gotta brave the resale market and buy it for like hundreds of dollars. It's not even a scale figure, but it's just such a nice figure. It's so good. I wholeheartedly agree. Hot men on armchairs? Yes. Yes. They too are the bane of my existence. And also they are the bane of my existence because they are my greatest weakness. It's rough. It is rough out here. Are these things? Is this a thing I'm supposed to snip? I believe so. Once again. There's a live action? They made a live action? When did they make live action Full Metal Alchemist? Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a good live action anime. Yeah. I figured, I'm like, if there is a live action Full Metal Alchemist, there's no way it's good, right? There's no way that it's good. Or else it would be way bigger. Ah. And once again, I've attached something incorrectly, which means I have to bring out the tweezers. Wherever they are in my toolbox. There they are. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Honestly, the live action Cowboy Bebop had a lot of potential. Because there are some shows that I think could genuinely work in live action. And Cowboy Bebop is one where, like, well, it's a solid maybe, because one of the best parts of that show is, like, you know, kind of how exaggerated and cartoony it is. But it's workable in a live action setting, and it, like, it could have been done, but they just fumbled it so hard. Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I feel like they bit off a lot more than they could chew with something like Cowboy Bebop, because it's such a like iconic anime. Everyone's going to be comparing it to the original. Like, it has such a deep following that like it'd have huge shoes to fill. I feel like a show that would actually be pretty solid in live action. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god. I'm so glad you watched Cowboy Bebop. I watched that back when I was in high school, and honestly, I kind of want to. You guys are making me want to rewatch the anime, like the original anime, because it's really good. But yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes of the Netflix Cowboy Bebop, and I was like, this just is not it. Because the trailer too looked really promising. I didn't want to think it would be good. Like I did hold like I wasn't immediately like I was thinking it's gonna be good, because I'm like, it's live action. How good can it be? But then it was just so bad. It was just so bad. Yeah. But yeah, I think a show that would actually work out quite well, like that could work out pretty decently in live action, is Banana Fish. If any of you have ever seen it. It was the camera, huh? What was bad about the... I mean, I'm not like a film expert, but from my like layman's perspective, yeah, I can see why you had an issue with the camera work, because it was just like, I felt like they didn't take advantage of it being live well. Like, all the shots were kind of static, and like, I don't know. Samurai Champloo was also really good. If they make us a live action Samurai Champloo and they mess it up, I'm also gonna be big sad. Yeah. Yeah. There's this one YouTube reviewer that I like watching sometimes who just like hates Dutch angles. Yeah. I also hope they never attempt live action Samurai Champloo. Yeah. Like, the original was so artistic, like every single shot meant something. You know, and that's part of like the beauty of it being animated, is that they could afford to do all of these like kind of crazy shots and do all these cool artistic things because it was animated. You don't have to worry about like lighting or color grading or CGI or anything like that and trying to make it look realistic. You didn't have to. It was anime. But yeah, it was pretty messed up what they did to Cowboy Bebop. An anime that I think could actually work in a live action capacity is Banana Fish, though. I hesitate to recommend the anime because there's a lot of like triggering content in it. It is pretty rough, but it is a very good show. And like the type of show that Banana Fish is, it's very like gritty. It's about like kind of real world struggles. It's about like you know, gang violence and stuff like that. I don't know, people get kind of misled because that show gets labeled as BL, which it technically is, but it's not. I hesitate to call it a romance, like a BL at all, because there's just not. It's not a romance show. It's a show about like it's a show about drug trafficking and gang violence. I won't get into detail, but I'm just putting that out as a warning. It's a really good show, but it does have a lot of like difficult subject matter. But because BL like boys love, I know some people call it. Some people say like BL yaoi, same kind of umbrella. But yeah, I think that show could actually work pretty decently as live action because like it has a very grounded subject matter. It's about very like things that happen in real life. There's not a lot like it is artistic and it is very well written, but it's also it's grounded in like it's about like not real life events. It's obviously fictional, but like I feel like something like that can be adapted well into live action because like while it is artistic, the art I feel like is more in the writing. There are some interesting like shots and art in Banana Fish. It's a really good show and a really good manga, but I think it is things that could be translated pretty easily into live action. It's not really like it's very well written. It's really good, but yeah. Ping Pong the animation live. Oh man. It's just Ping Pong the animation, but not Ping Pong the animation. I understand. Oh, I think I was supposed to put these first. I think I was supposed to put these things first, and then I didn't do that, and I just put this thing, even though I was probably supposed to put the other things first. Yeah, I think a lot of sports anime, besides like Prince of Tennis, where they like split the universe in half to hit a tennis ball. But stuff like Haikyuu that's more based in like human drama and stuff, there's not really anything too crazy in there. There's some like exaggerated shots obviously because it's a sports anime, but overall it's pretty grounded. I think something like Haikyuu probably has pretty decent potential for live action. I liked Haikyuu. I'm not a super huge sports anime fan, not because I think it's bad. Like, oh my god, I have a friend, one of my friends is like a die-hard sports anime fan. Like, he watches every sports anime. He's seen like every sports anime known to man. And he always tells me to watch all these different sports anime. And sometimes I do watch them. And the ones that he's recommended have always been good. Like he's the one that got me into Haikyuu originally, because like sports anime isn't really something that has ever particularly appealed to me. But my friend recommended it, and I was like, you know what? I'll trust you on this. I'll watch this sports anime, and I did. Same thing with like. What's it? Hoshiai no Sora was so good. Yeah. There's sports anime. It's not for it's certainly not for everyone. It's certainly not for everyone. I have no idea which direction this is actually supposed to go in. Oh, it's because I'm using the wrong piece. I'm honestly not surprised they made a football anime. Like American football? Because I was kind of raised on British pronunciation. So in my brain, football is American soccer. But yeah. Okay, okay. So it's American football. I'm honestly not surprised. It's about time they made it. They made a football anime. There's like there's an anime for sports I've never even heard of. I feel like it makes sense that they would finally make a football one. There are some sports stuff. What's it like? There's the manga. Actually, I think it's getting an anime adaptation soon. Blue Lock. Blue Lock is like it's a soccer manga, but it's really interesting. I actually have been really liking Blue Lock, the manga, and I think it got greenlit recently. Okay, the sumo anime, Hinamari Sumo, is actually pretty good. That was also one that my friend recommended to me, and I actually really enjoyed the sumo anime. The sumo anime was like fun and it wasn't like stellar, but it was fun and cute, and I liked it. It was a good show. Yeah, I'm excited for Blue Lock. I really hope they adapt it well because the manga's really good. Yeah, Blue Lock is supposed to come out this year. The art style is kind of unique, but hopefully they can still adapt it well. Oh, thank you, Sad Boy Robo, for gifted for the sub. Or wait, I'm not sure how gifted subs. I'm not too sure how gifted subs work, but to both Sad Boy Robo and Frost Raven, thank you. But I'm pretty excited for Blue Lock though. It's like it's I feel like it's pretty unique for a sports anime because usually I'm not the biggest. Okay, yeah, okay, okay. I see. I see. But yeah, usually I'm not the biggest like sports anime fan, but I feel like, you know, Blue Lock does the whole like sports soccer thing in a very unique way. It's battle, it's intense, it's soccer. Oh, okay. Oh, I see, I see. Thank you, Noel. And there we have that. And then I've already made this arm. Am I supposed to make 2 of these? I'm honestly not sure. I think I was all supposed to make 2 of these, and I just never did that. Because I made 2 of these. I know I did that. Man, the arms have so many pieces. Yes, here's my 2 little arm holsters. Yeah, I've heard good things about Days. Here's one hand. I think I'm only supposed to make 1 of these things. But yeah, I did not in fact make 2 of these things. So I should do that. Yeah. I've heard a lot of good things about Days though. My friend who loves sports anime also really does like Days. What's it? Another sports anime that I really like is Hoshiai. I think I mentioned it earlier. Hoshiai no Sora. In English it's The Stars Align. It's about yeah, it's like a perpetual that is kind of the beauty of sports anime. It's a perpetual tournament arc. And like the stakes just keep getting higher. And it's like, it's intense and it's fun, especially when the characters are like well written. It's so easy to get like attached to them, especially when they're like always in a tournament arc. But Hoshiai no Sora is a really good, it's about like soft tennis. Not quite sure what soft tennis is, but it's just like not actually that much of a sports anime. I know, I'm lying just a little bit, but it is sports anime. They do play sports in that show. It's about a soft tennis team. But it's a lot more about like the human drama. It's a lot more about like the personal experiences of these kids, because some of these kids are really going through it. And like the focus of the show is more about like the characters. Chihaya Furu. Also, hello. Yeah, as opposed, it's apparently different from hard tennis. It's called soft tennis. It is different. They do make that distinction, but the show is really good though. The one really sad thing about Hoshiai no Sora though is just another little content warning. It's not like graphic or anything. I think the show itself is rated like PG, but it does have some it does allude to some pretty difficult things about like parental relationships and stuff like that. But it's still a really good show. But yeah. Chihaya Furu though. You're absolutely right. Chihaya Furu is the best sports anime. I love competitive poem card game. You know, you'd think just from the outset, it's about people that competitively memorize poems. But it's such a good show. Chihaya Furu is so good. It is, man. I have to catch up to Chihaya Furu. I haven't finished watching the newest season. I know, I'm a fake fan. You can call me out for being a fake Chihaya Furu fan because I haven't finished watching the new season. But it's so good. I love Chihaya Furu. It's like it's actually one of the few josei anime that exists out there. And man, one of my other anime hot takes is that josei doesn't get it. The josei demographic / genre doesn't get enough love, because everyone knows what obviously everyone knows what shonen anime is, which is like demographic of younger boys, like, you know, teenage boys. And then there's shoujo, similarly young teenage girls, like young adult women. And like seinen is a little bit less known, but there are quite a few like pretty iconic seinen anime. Like technically Tokyo Ghoul counts as seinen because the target demographic is like adult men. There's a lot of seinen. There's actually quite a bit of seinen of like shows targeted towards, you know, not towards like towards adult men. Yeah, Berserk is one. But josei is the demographic for adult women. And josei is probably a lot of my favorite shows are josei, which, surprise, I, the adult woman, like shows targeted towards adult women. But there's a lot of gems in josei, but it is very much an underrepresented genre. There's barely anything in josei. I feel like there's no anime that targets adult women unless it's kind of like a very specific type of show that is not appropriate for all audiences. Usually like josei, most of the josei genre is like kind of like, you know, the bodice stripper type stuff. Josei is a genre of anime. It's more of like a demographic in the similar sense of like shonen and shoujo, but it's just a demographic for adult women. Because like I love my shoujo anime. It's very nostalgic to me, but it's very clearly like meant for teenage girls, and alas, I am no longer a teenage girl. It's kind of hard to continue relating to anime about a bunch of high schoolers. So I really do love a lot of josei anime. Like Chihayafuru is one of the absolute best. Chihayafuru is so good. And then there's also like Princess Jelly. Oh my god, Princess Jellyfish is another one of my all-time favorite anime. And also, fun fact, one of the few anime where I like the dub better than the sub. Princess Jellyfish is a phenomenal show. It's really sweet and funny and just like, I don't know, usually I almost always prefer the subtitles to the dubs, unless it's like a show like Oran where I have like a nostalgia factor for the dub. I genuinely do just like the dub of Princess Jellyfish better than the sub, because I feel like a lot of the humor just lands better in English for whatever reason. I guess like they just hired the English voice actors, like really nailed the characters, and I feel like a lot of the humor just landed better in English than it did in Japanese. That's just like a personal opinion though. I mean, not saying that the dub is bad, but you know. But Princess Jellyfish is such a good show. Oh my god, Shugo-chara. I watched like all the magical girl anime as a kid. Shugo-chara, Cardcaptor, Tokyo Mew Mew, Mermaid Melody, all of it. The Bleach dub actually is pretty solid. I watched the Bleach dub back when I tried to get into Bleach. Unfortunately, I actually got a decent amount into the Bleach manga, but I could just never really get into the anime. I think I only got like 20 episodes into the anime before giving up. But yeah, josei is just such an underrepresented demographic, and there's just so many, like like there's just something like, again, most josei does tend to be romance, because, you know, of course, girl like romance, that's the only thing women are allowed to like, apparently. But actually, there's some really good josei out there that's not just romance, like Princess Jellyfish and Chihayafuru. Like the main focuses of those shows, there is romance in them, but it's definitely not the main focus of the show. Like Chihayafuru is a sports anime. Princess Jellyfish is more about like, it's more of like a coming of age thing than it is romance. It's about like, you know, being awkward and learning to find yourself. And like, you know, what it's like I think everyone can kind of relate, especially like the people that, you know, would be watching anime in the first place can relate to, like, you know, being a social outcast at some point. And like growing, not just like, there's a lot of anime that's about like being a social outcast as like a teenager when you're still, you know, young. But one of the things that I really love about Princess Jellyfish is that it's about being a social outcast up into adulthood, but it's not played as a joke. It's not played as a like, oh, I have to change everything about myself so I can stop being a social outcast. That's not what, that's one of the things, like the thing I love about Princess Jellyfish, that like, it's about self-acceptance. And like, part of it is, yeah, there are some things that the main character has to improve on. Like she has a lot of issues with talking. She has a lot of social anxiety and stuff that she has to improve. And part of her arc is improving that. But like, it is also like, as she gets older, it's not that she has to, you know, erase these really nerdy parts of her personality. It's about her accepting that about herself and learning to incorporate that into her personality as she grows up, as she like enters adulthood. And I really love that. I really love that about Princess Jellyfish. And like, it's stories like that we kind of miss out, that like we kind of miss out on not that we miss out on like not letting Josei exist or not being as represented as it deserves to be. Yeah, Princess Jellyfish is another show I would highly recommend. There are, of course, it's from the 2000s. There are some things that did not age as well because I feel like any anime in the 2000s has aspects of that. It could be a lot worse, I will say. It's not as bad. Didn't age as badly as some of the things in Oran. But there are some aspects of it that don't age like that magnificently. But yeah, Princess Jellyfish's. But yeah, that's just continuing my rant of why Josei needs to be represented better. Josei deserves way more love than it gets. There's some really good Josei anime out there, but because anime likes to pretend a lot of entertainment likes to pretend that adult women don't participate in entertainment because oh yeah, by the once you're 20 and you're Oran that was such a Freudian slip. That was such a weird Freudian slip. But yeah, oh my god, the twins in Oran. Oh, a lot of that stuff did not age the best. Oran. Yes. Yes, we are talking about Oran High School Host Club. The classic anime, Oran High School Host Club. Oh no. But yeah, it's rough, man. Like one of the main characters. Oh yeah. Oh yes, the hands. I finished one hand. I finished one of the hands. Look. I finished one of the hands. It took me like a solid 20 minutes to just detach the hand. And I think it'll go a little bit better this time. But oh, Yuru Camp is really good. Yuru Camp is really good. But I do understand why it's like not something that appeals to everyone. Because I'll be real with you, there is not a ton of stuff that happens in that anime. Not that much. But it's just like about, it actually like, I don't know. It's sweet, it's about interpersonal relationships, and it's about just relaxing. It's a very relaxing show. But yes. Honestly, my thoughts of Yuru Camp are hopefully what'll get me through snipping out everything in this hand. Like literally, I have to look at the nice little picture guideline that they give me. Yeah. Oh my god. Ooh. That sounds fun, but also extremely tedious. Good luck. But it does sound fun though. I hope you enjoy it. Oh my god, a 1/48 scale sounds so insane though. But yeah, I'm looking at the nice little diagram that they give me that tells me like exactly where the pins are, where the like connector pins are, so I don't accidentally snip an important joint. Oh my god, yeah. Treat yourself. It's your birthday. If you can afford it, treat yourself. Yes, I am allowed to cut this. I am allowed to cut this part. Yeah, I know this unicorn is not exactly cheap either. Oh no. Yeah. Why do things have to cost money? It's rough. It's rough these days. But hopefully you won't like be starving on the streets or anything because you bought a 148 scale RX-78. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Don't treat yourself. Um, but if it is financially feasible for you, if it is, I totally recommend treating yourself. The parts separate. Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It seems really cool though, but yeah, I see how that level of detail will definitely add to the price tag. I also can definitely see that in this unicorn too. Like, oh, oh, just the amount of time it's taken me just to get the hands out of here. And I bet, man, a 148 scale sounds insane. Oh man, this part's actually like genuinely kind of difficult because it's in a really weird corner and I have to be super careful to like only snip this little strut. Oh wow. That's pretty sick. I do love because there's not a lot of that means there's not a lot of like panel lining and stuff you have to do. That's one of the nice things about this unicorn. I'm thinking because like I do want to panel line, but honestly, there's not that much to panel line because a lot of the parts are already separate. So there's not really a point in doing that. But it's like the oh man, like even the little gray sections being separate pieces is kind of is like kind of insane to me. But it does sound like a lot of fun to put together though. Okay, okay, okay. We are we are a few we're like I didn't snip the thumb yet, but we're like 2 fingers in. No, I did snip the thumb. We're 3 fingers in. I'm just gonna take a little break to examine and make sure I didn't cut anything important. Doesn't look like I did. Like I can see this finger is separating out nicely. I didn't cut anything important. There's nothing I forgot. This bit I snipped. I'm in the middle of cutting. I still have to cut this bit, which I haven't done yet, but I'm about to. I did cut this little middle bit though, but then I'm gonna have to do it again over here. Oh. Ooh. Makes the black panel lines. That's pretty interesting. I feel like that'll give it a lot more of like a color block animation type feel, like a comic book type feel. What's the word? I think it's not cell shading, but kind of like that. That sounds pretty interesting. Usually I prefer having like darker panel line colors. But yeah, painting if it's for like separate panels, that does make sense though to like paint the edges black. That's pretty cool. I still really want to get into custom painting. One of my goals for this year is to learn how to do like airbrush painting and stuff. I actually have some plans. one of the kits that I have planned to build for the stream later this year is one that I have some custom painting plans for. So I'm hoping we can all you guys can go on this journey with me. I'm pretty excited that like hopefully you guys can go on this journey with me. Ooh, yeah. To mirror what exists. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I think I will still panel line some things in the unicorn. I think I mentioned this earlier. I'm debating whether or not to panel line on stream because I'm not gonna lie, it is it's pretty boring. And like panel lining is something I have to like the piece has to be like an inch from my face, like 2 inches from my face. And I feel like just a shot of me hunched over for an hour is not going to be that fun. But hey, if any of you are particularly interested in my panel lining process, I'm still down to show that. I panel line using calligraphy pens, like calligraphy nibs, because I'm kind of a perfectionist. Not kind of. I'm absolutely a perfectionist. I like being very precise with where the ink goes. Oh yes. Thank you for reminding me to not kill my spine. We're gonna do a quick stretch break. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I want to play around with like color washes. Don't worry, I did. I've straightened out my spine. Yes. Water, very important. Also, thank you for reminding me. My throat does feel kind of dry. There we go. Nice and hydrated. I have in fact straightened out my posture. My spine is no longer at a 90-degree curve. Man, immediately I am... I don't know how I can straighten my spine even more without like being in full... Man, a fun fact is that I played concert violin for many years. Through basically my entire childhood up through high school, and like I only stopped when I got to college. Lean farther, but yeah, when I think of straightening my spine, I immediately like to play the violin, like really most instruments, especially string instruments, your posture is extremely important. If your posture, like if your spine is not perfectly straight, it'll actually like affect the sound of your playing. Oh no. Oh no. I don't know how much straighter my spine can be without getting like concave. I'm already in like full concert orchestra posture. Don't worry. I'll get my... You guys cannot see it, but I got my... I have my spine straight. I'm sitting at the edge of my chair the way you're supposed to, like in concert orchestra. Feet flat on the ground. Knees not shoulder width, but like, you know, feet like 8 inches apart. I still think it's really funny how deeply this posture is ingrained into me. Oh god. I don't know if my posture can get any better, but I'm trying my best. Everyone wants me. They want me to have good posture. They want me to have the straightest spine imaginable. Oh no. Oh no. I lean for 0.5 seconds and you're already on me. You're already on to me. You know. Okay. Pose. Pose. I'm doing my old violin posture. My chin is up. All of that. My spine is as straight as can be. My shoulders are back. Ah, yes, the perfect grade unicorn. Hello. I am, in fact, currently I'm working on detaching the hand. Oh no. Okay. We're like 3 fingers in right now. We've detached 3 of them, but there's still a few more that need to be freed. Good morning. I don't know what time zone everyone's in. For me it's like early afternoon. But good morning. It is still brunch time. It's always morning somewhere in the world. Ah, yes. I'm an expert in violins. Violins? I consider myself an expert in violins? I mean, I'm not particularly good. That's kind of why I'm not that good at it, but I've just been doing it for a long time. Ooh, toast. Toast sounds fun. I actually, man, I got this like, oh no. Yeah. On this fine Friday, we woke up and chose violins. Remember, kids, violins is never the answer. And I think because of that, we should outlaw orchestras. Oh no. Oh no. His finger. I finally detached it, but now it's just okay. We've reattached his finger. He's not getting a DIY amputation today. Oh my god, yeah. 3D printing takes absolutely forever. Okay, wait. How am I'm supposed to... Oh no, that's not how I'm supposed to bend this. I'm supposed to rotate it like this. And I'm supposed to rotate the thumb so that... Oh yeah, the way this... Fun fact, I could do this with my actual thumb. But I will spare you guys unless you're particularly interested in the weird ways that I can bend my and how double jointed my hands are. But yeah. Ooh, that's cool. I've always wanted to have like my own 3D printer. Heather, is this you wanting to see the weird double jointed things I can do with my hands? Okay, okay. Uh, I mean, I don't know if I should count this as a content warning because it's just hands, but I have a really pronounced hitchhiker's thumb. I can do that, like full 90 degrees. It doesn't hurt me or anything. Just another thing. None of these things hurt me. This is all just things my bones can do. I can do that. And then, okay, this is kind of hard to do at this angle, but I can do that. It's a fun time. See what our friend the unicorn was doing. I can also do that with my thumb. But yeah. Oh yeah, and I can fully touch my thumb to my wrist. Yeah. I've got funky joints. But yeah, actually I technically no, I do not play the piano. I've always wanted to properly learn. Really the only thing I can play like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on the piano, but that's about it. Which is really funny because I can read piano sheet music. Like, the fun thing with string instruments is like, I've played the violin for a long time, but I can also play a viola and a cello. Because truly, once you know one string instrument, you know them all. All you really have to do is just learn how to read. You just have to learn how to read alto and bass clef. So I can read alto and bass clef, and like piano music is in treble and bass clef, and I can read piano music. But I've always wanted to like properly learn how to play the piano. One of these days I will. As everyone says, one of these days. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed the quick display of the funky things my joints can do. At least my hands. And yeah, I can in fact just do that. I mean, it's kind of hard to like show the angle at this angle. I think it's easier like that, because it's kind of hard to show from this angle. But yeah, I can kind of just do like the full 180. I kind of just don't have a joint there. Not quite sure why it's like that, but it is. But anyway, speaking of hands, we have to finish our good friend, the unicorn, Mr. Unicorn's hands. We're almost done. His hands have finally been freed from this absolute beast of a runner. Like, at will? That sounds so painful. Oh. That hurts my shoulders just thinking about. Though I can't really say much. I feel like a lot of the things I can do with my joints are things that would probably hurt other people. That would probably like hurt people that don't have bones like mine. But oh man, I've never dislocated my shoulder before, but I've heard it is quite painful to put it back. Okay, B10 and P9. Hand yoga. This is the C runner, not the B runner. This is the B runner. Oh man, dislocating your joints in general just sounds like a rough time. Oh. Please take care to not accidentally break your bones. I think I've only broken a bone once, and it was in my foot. I was in like 3rd grade, and it wasn't my fault because there's this really, really terrible kid that just slammed a seesaw onto my foot, and it ended up breaking one of my toe joints. But yeah. Actually, I am very susceptible to like rolling my ankle joint though, because my kind of like my hands, my ankle joints bend a lot further than it usually, like I can bend my ankles at like a full 90-degree ankle without pain. Like it just does that. It just goes that far anyway. And so usually when like you trip on when you trip on something and like your ankle will stop at a certain point because like your ankle joints do not bend that far, and usually when it goes a full 90 degrees that's bad. But mine kind of just do that anyway, so like there's no stopping point. If I start tripping, I just fall, and I sprained my ankle a few times because of that. It's not fun, I will say. Oh my god. That's pretty crazy. I've never heard of people that could just dislocate shoulders at will, but good for you then. But yeah, I hope none of us break any bones, at least well, yeah, it's not fun to break bones. I hope no one gets injured in the making of this. There's P10. Was this supposed to have... I think I was supposed to have 2 P runners. Where's my second P runner? Did I forget to take out my second? No, I'm pretty sure it's in here somewhere. I like to keep all of them together. It's in here somewhere. That's Q, that's S. Oh man, I think I left it in the box. The other P runner. Okay. Yeah, that was my mistake. I will be right back so I can go get the other P runner from the box and complete Mr. Unicorn's hands. I have returned. The piece has been located. We are all good now. Oh my god. I love how we can all share the funky things we can do with our bones. I love the collective having funky bones. I like that everyone kind of has a little trick like that. Just a fun thing about the human experience. And now I have to figure out how I'm supposed to orient this piece. I think it goes this way though. I believe. Yes, it's supposed to connect to these little nubs on the hands at the base of the fingers. Yes. Yes, that's where it goes, because that's where it went before, because I already made a different hand. I remember. I made a hand already. This is not my first rodeo. I've made hands before. But alas, it's not fitting. As it never does. Did it even fit on the first one? Oh no, I got it to work on the first one. I'm just being kind of stupid. No, not stupid. It's just really weird to orient. I just have to orient the fingers because it's supposed to be connected. It's this piece connects to these little things that are on the fingers, but problem is that each finger kind of moves independently, and it's a struggle. Honestly, I don't blame them. Just the description sounds kind of like a war crime. Some things, human beings should not be able to do that, and yet we are. At least you are. Okay, yeah, I just think I didn't bend this enough. Or at least I didn't, yeah. I may have to detach the back armor thing, the hand armor thing that I've already attached, so I can fix the hand orientation. Because this is supposed to be straighter. There we go. Yes. That's supposed to be straighter, so the other piece can connect. And I think it's fixed now, so I can realign these finger bits a little bit more, and then snap that back in here, and then put the hand armor back on. Oh, that's not the correct orientation. It's supposed to go this way. I know how directions work. I know my ups and my downs and my lefts and my rights. This is definitely not me admitting to the fact that sometimes I still do the L thing with my left and right. Just so I can remember which way's left and right. Though to be fair, that's not wholly my fault. I feel like I'm better with my lefts and rights in not English. Because, like, as a kid, I didn't... Yeah. Honestly, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, as a kid, I didn't originally learn it in English. So, even now, I still kind of struggle with, like, lefts and rights. Like, when I'm like, giving directions to someone in a car, I sometimes do, like, point right when I mean, like, say right when I'm pointing left. Because I just get mixed up with that sometimes. It's difficult. Directions are difficult, okay? I feel like this is a safe space to admit that, you know, sometimes it's okay to confuse your lefts and rights as an adult. The king... The King song. Yes. I just do the thing where, like, yeah, well, actually, it's gonna look backwards because this is a camera and it flips things, but I do the thing where I make an L, and that's, if it's the correct facing L, that's left. I still have to do that in my brain sometimes. Okay. And now... Oh man, I forgot how annoying this orientation was, because it's like, oh yeah, two of these, there's these little triangles kind of embossed into here. I'm not sure how well this shows up on camera, but there's like these little shapes kind of embossed into there, and they are slightly different from each other. So I have to keep in mind which way is which, or else it's wrong. It goes. Yes, it goes this way. The side, it goes that way down. And the side with those ones go this way. And then I attach it. Okay, I will hydrate as soon as I finish attaching this piece. Because I have to be very precise with which way that piece is. And it's really annoying to remember which way it goes. Okay. I think I've done it. He's got another hand now, and now I will hydrate. Okay. I know I've consumed my water, and it's just about almost time to wrap up. Pretty good timing. I just finished this hand. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I would be finally putting all the hand pieces together and doing the LEDs, because that is the next step, is to do the LEDs. Well, because the hands come in this, like, all these separate pieces. Come in all of these separate pieces that I have to put together. And, like, oh no, not another posture check. My spine is straight enough, I promise. If I straighten my spine any more than this, it will snap in half. That is less than ideal. I prefer having my spine not snapped in half. But yeah, I thought we'd be finally putting the pieces together. I had the LED stuff ready and everything, and we ended up just not doing that. I spent the whole time finishing. It just took me that long to make this hand. Actually, no, I also had to, like, I also had to make a second one of these pieces because I forgot to make two of them earlier. But, anyway, he's got two hands now. He can clap. He can clap now. He can do a round of applause. He can hold hands with himself. The amount of articulation on the hand joints is actually kind of insane. He really can hold hands with himself. If I wanted to, I could, you know, pose that right now where he holds hands. The two hands are holding hands. Oh yeah. Once his arms are put together, he can definitely dab. He's got enough arms to do that. It's just the problem is that his arms are in many, many little pieces that need to be put together. But yeah. He's got two hands now. He can clap, he can dab, he can hold hands with himself. He can do anything. Oh, the first pose will be dabbing. That'll be a lot of fun. It looks like there's going to be a lot of articulation that we can do. Just by looking at how many pieces the arms come in, I feel like there's going to be a lot of posability. I mean, it's a perfect grade. It's a really big scale. I know there are some like concerns with like how delicate the shoulders are. I know there's that, but I assure you the first pose will be a dab. But yeah, it's about time to wrap up. Next week I will be doing what I said I would do this episode, which is putting the arm pieces together and putting in the LEDs. But now I'm gonna do that for real next time. I'm going to do that for real next time. I'll be doing it same time at 11 o'clock around brunch time. Or 11 o'clock Eastern time. Around brunch time. And so feel free to tune in. If you are interested in watching any of the VODs, we upload them on Wednesdays to our YouTube channel. We also, if you are interested in tabletop games, we also have Feedback Loop on Tuesday evenings. And yeah, thank you to everyone who tuned in today. I hope you all had a fun time. I know I definitely did. And I'll see you all next week. Thank you.